Hello and welcome to the Furiosa Software Development Kit. In this Getting Started video, you will learn about installing the Furiosa Python SDK, compiling a neural net model that classifies images, running the model with the sample input image, and finally, taking the output classification and comparing it with the ground truth. Let's dive right in. As documented, installing the SDK is conveniently done with a pip install. Prior to that, you'll also need to set up a virtual environment and clone the repo which contains the examples. We'll be executing the notebook cell by cell from Visual Studio. So if you haven't already installed it, please do so and open it. The first step is to connect to the remote server that hosts the Furiosa Warboy card. For that, you have to enter the equivalent of an SSH connection and then navigate to the location of your examples notebook folder. Once you're there, select the notebook Getting Started with Python SDK. This notebook illustrates how you can classify images containing a single digit using a pre-built TensorFlow-Lite model. Note that this classification or inference task is accelerated by the Furiosa Warboy Inference Accelerator. Before we proceed, we want to check that the accelerator is available, and that's done by executing the Furiosa control command. In this case, we see that the Warboy accelerator is not being used by some other process and is available. Also, it's always good to check the version of the libraries to ensure that you're using the most up-to-date versions. Now let's pick a dataset. We use the well-known MNIST dataset. Here we've downloaded the entire dataset of 60,000 images. Now we're ready to use the Furiosa runtime library. The first step is to compile the model from TensorFlow-Lite into a highly optimized executable that can run on the Furiosa accelerator hardware. This optimizing compiler is the heart of the SDK and generates the most optimal code for any neural network of any size. Once we have the compiled code, it's ready to run on the Warboy accelerator. For the inference step, we randomly pick a test image to classify into a digit. Here's a picture of the test image, in this case the digit 4. We now call the API session.run with the random test image as input. This generates outputs that can be considered the probability scores for each of the 10 digits we want to classify into. The next step is to pick the digit with the highest probability score. We see that the function argmax has correctly classified the image to be the digit 4. Nice! We covered SDK installation, model compilation, model execution, and output comparison for accuracy. And that concludes a brief intro to the Furiosa SDK. Thank you. If you have questions and want to know more, please email ussupport@furiosa.ai.